Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're together.
We're here.
We're together. Like, you're not there.
No, I'm not from the computer. I'm not in a different country. We're literally in the same place.
We're like in the middle of rural New Zealand.
Yeah.
We're in a town that has like 5 buildings and it's amazing.
It's so good. I was just out in a paddock writing at a picnic table surrounded by tall grasses, staring at sheep and
with a pig
and a kuni pig.
Yeah. Kuni pig. And we've got
chickens,
a duck hanging out with the chickens that I firmly believe the duck doesn't even realize it's not a chicken.
Yeah.
And it's just
a chicken
hanging
duck.
out. Yeah. It's a chaduck. Chuck.
Chuck. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we're gonna start calling it Chuck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're together on a mini writing retreat with some of our writing buddies that we try and do at least once a year. And it's so good. We've gotten heaps done.
Yes. I outlined a book this morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been sitting on it, but I actually just sat down because it was like that collective energy, I think, as we were all in this room. We're actually in an old post office. And if you're watching this on YouTube, so for people listening, we have a YouTube for this, but it's beautiful. We're actually, Allie and I are sitting in the part that would have been where the postal workers were. And on the other side of the bench is where people would have come in and been dropping off their mail and shipping packages back in the day.
They still have like the old timey clock and like the bank vault is now a closet. Yeah, it's really cool.
We're having a lot of
fun. We've got a lot done. And one of the things we're doing while we're here too is talking about our 2023 goals.
Yes, we are.
Which is perfect because that's what we wanted to talk about on the podcast today, but our 2023 social media goals.
Yes.
For each of us, because our goals are very different for this year.
Yeah. Why don't you start with yours? I'm actually going to take notes because what I've decided to do, I love taking notes, but I want us to obviously come back to this because in 360 something days, we'll be able to reflect back. This is what we said we wanted to do, and let's see where we are.
Yes.
So yeah, what are your social media goals?
I have a few. So one of my big goals this year is diversification. I want to be, I originally was all in on TikTok. And that was the only social media platform I was using. And now I want to start putting a little more effort into growing my audience in different places. And, posting on, Instagram and, Facebook and even Pinterest, different places. And just even if it's not frequently, but having my bio link and places where people can reach me and knowing that I'm present in all of those different places. Ideally, eventually I'd like to get to like at least a few thousand across each of them. And then having maybe like TikTok and Instagram be the ones that have like tens of thousands of people on. But I want to just have like at least a small presence across lots of different places. So that's one of my goals. Another one of my goals with social media is to have more inbox boundaries, I guess I would call them. So I've turned my direct messages off on TikTok. It's still open on the other socials because I have smaller followings there, so I don't get as many messages. But TikTok was starting to get to the point where I would have at least a dozen messages every morning. And I kind of have that anxiety of I don't like the red notice of you have a message, you know. I need to clear out my inbox and
see a number. It's got to go.
Yeah. So, and then I felt compelled to reply to every message. And most of the time it was just like something funny or sharing a video and a lot of those things. But I do pretty much every day get a few questions that are way beyond the scope of a direct message conversation of like, how do I write a book, or like, how do I publish, and I'm like, this is,
that's a big question.
That's like several courses and several books and years of experience to try and respond to. And so it's kind of beyond that. So now I'm starting to set up more kind of boundaries for my time so that I'm not taking up so much time responding to those comments and, saying, like with Facebook, I have an autoresponder that says, you can email me or contact me via my website. And for the most part, people don't like, that's too much effort for them. And if it's too much effort for you to find my email address, and send me an email with your question, then you're probably not the people I should be investing my time and energy in.
Because it's a lot of effort to get a
It's a
book
lot.
up.
It's a lot, and it's a lot of time and kind of emotional labor for me. So I'm starting to do a little bit more of that, setting a little bit more boundaries with how much time and energy I'm giving people in my inbox, and focusing more of it on creating content for people. And then the content that I'm focusing on creating for 2023, I'm going to have a much bigger emphasis on moving people off platform. So that's one of my big goals for the year, is trying to get people onto my Patreon, onto my newsletter, to visit my Shopify, all of the places that, you know, my spheres of influence and my control. Yeah. I want them to be mine. I want them to be mine directly. And that's, you know, important to me, because I like having fail safes for if any social media goes down or something happens, that I can have direct contact with my readers. So less, you know, last year more of an emphasis was pushing them towards my books. So go buy my book. Like the links I wanted them to click was my Amazon link or my paperback link. And this year it's more about clicking on my newsletter and clicking on my
you know, I love
my
a newsletter
Patreon.
too.
Yeah.
I'm all about a good newsletter.
So that's going to be my focus, is less about trying to, I mean, I'm obviously still going to be doing book promotion. I have 2 big launches coming up this year, so I'll be pushing people towards that as well. But my main emphasis will be more about building my long-term readership and fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so good.
So those are some of my 2023 goals. How about you? What are yours?
Let me write them down when we do them. So I've got that. I'm going to hold myself accountable with it. You know, one of them for me, I think we were talking the other day, and I know that like on TikTok and Instagram both, I would say I've stalled out at a spot, but it's just I've kind of hit a comfortable place with my followers, that one's sitting at about 5,500, I think, on Instagram, and about 6,500 on TikTok. It's funny because they're both in that same place.
Yeah.
And I know I want to get it to 10K, but I also know to get it to 10K, it's on me to do that content and to put the energy in it. And at the end of 2022, because last year was such a big year working wise, I just kind of stepped away from everything to get that goal and to kind of go, yeah, is that a good goal to have? Like, let's head for 10K on both and see what we can do. And if I'm going to do that as my goal, I need to reflect on my content that I'm going to be bringing to the table and what I want to do.
Totally.
So there's definitely, that's one, like to get to 10K on those 2 platforms, as well as within my newsletter, because the newsletter is the thing that for me, and I've been an and I actually kind of lump newsletter now into social media, where I wouldn't before. And people would say, well, do you consider? And I'd be like, oh no, that's a newsletter, but it's social, and it takes place in here. And a lot of times what you craft in your newsletter, you're pulling that content out and sharing it on your blog, or, you know, on your Facebook, or within Instagram, or on TikTok, or wherever. So it is social. And if you're got your newsletter rocking out right, you are getting people that are emailing back and answering questions. Like there can be, if that's what you want, which is what I want, because I want people emailing me. But at the same time, looking at that, my energy with it, and where, because that was a big lesson last year of realizing like there's all of this energy that I want, but my goodness, it goes away very quickly if you're not like got the reins on it. So I think I'm like, so you're at 10K. I want to hit 10K on newsletter subs, 10K on those 2 platforms, but I will the whole way be reviewing and checking in on my own content to make sure that I'm delivering.
Yes.
Because I have fun doing it. And so I just want to keep my community happy with me.
Totally.
Like keep the party going.
And the content is different depending on those goals, right? Like if you're trying to push a book, if you're trying to push your newsletter, if you're trying to grow your followers on a platform, the growing your followers on a platform content looks different than those other 2 types. So, you know, it will be like kind of evolving and shifting to try and focus on those goals, which will be interesting. I think sometimes people don't have a clear intention of what their goal is with the content that they're making.
Exactly.
And that kind of having the clear intention, and also like not having so many asks in every single video, but just having some that are focused towards one specific small thing that people can do, I think just kind of doesn't make people feel like you're selling to them. It doesn't make them feel overwhelmed. It makes them feel part of your community, but also it gives you that clear intentionality too, which helps you towards your goals. So
definitely. And I think too, I love, like with the newsletter, leaning into your newsletter, your website, Shopify, whatever it is that you're doing, that is not a Facebook or an Instagram or a TikTok or a Pinterest or wherever. Because it's the thing, like when I've worked with big brands in the past, you just don't want to throw all your eggs in a basket. It's the, what happens if the world ends tomorrow in social media? Well, at least you've got that newsletter list and you've got your people that you can go to. Can't post on Facebook, but you've got your website. Can't get on Instagram or TikTok to your community. Well, you've got your newsletter. So I think building in all of those places. And again, it's that holistic, but being careful with your energy, people.
And this is why we've grown and rebranded into Sustainable Socials from the BookToktors, is because we realized that we're helping people and a lot of our clients across several different social media platforms, that you and I both have quite a wide approach to social media and our strategies. And also, we still want to be doing this in 3 years. A lot of the things that we're talking about are still going to be helpful in 10 years when TikTok might be gone and there might be a new thing that's the new TikTok. And a lot of those principles are going to stay the same forever, as far as engagement, as far as building community. So like people stay the same. The way we connect with people stays the same. The strategies behind it can be different. But yeah, I'm really excited.
I am too. And I feel like too, like we both talked a lot about energy and mindset around this as well. And I think it's a big year of that. We were just chatting a little while ago about things we're doing in our personal lives to kind of get that balance. And I think that's another tick to add to my goals is making sure, if not daily, but every other day, because of the amount of time that we are spending either online or within this world of the computer, when you're in that
the computer world,
like we have to you've got to reserve your energy, because it's amazing how much these devices, as tiny as they are,
energy allocation.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
And I don't want to be mad at it. I just don't want
I think that's a good goal for 2023. I think 2023 is the year. One of the reasons why we want to talk more about mental health and how social media affects that is because I foresee a lot of people in 2023 struggling more. I see a lot of people who use social media for their businesses, and a lot of creatives starting to get burnt out and starting to struggle with social media and not having any strategies in place to find a way to keep going with it, but they feel like they need to for their business. And they know that they're going to, but they're just doing it less and less joyfully and more just kind of in this trudging along sort of way that's really like kind of grinding them down. And so that's why we started doing this, is we wanted to have more for them. So should we talk a little bit more about our goals as Sustainable Socials for 2023 too?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Well, I know one of our big goals was rebranding.
Yes. So we made that happen fast.
Yeah.
There might be some other things at the time of this podcast being recorded that we're still trying to do, like the website. But there's like little things that we have to click over. But we got rebranded. We've got a new logo. We've got a new name, and we both love it because we both wanted to have. We're coming from our own type of space of finding a peace and calm and going into all of this with an ease. And and we want to bring that
sustainability. That's like a big focus of both of ours and a priority for both of our businesses. And it's something that we really want to help people with more. I think that there's a lot of great courses out there and coaching and tips and advice for how to go viral and how to get a massive audience and how to do all of those things. But we're kind of coming in from a different approach of saying, how can we do this sustainably ongoing? How can we feel good about it? How can we do some of those strategies in a way that doesn't burn you out? Because if you're not around in 2 months because you've been doing all of those tips and tricks, then it won't matter, you know?
Yes.
So we're coming from a slightly different angle. And one of my goals for us for 2023 is to get more people talking about how social media affects them mentally.
Yes. Let's
That's
talk about that feeling, like what it is. Cause
Let's start that conversation more.
I think people don't realize how it affects them, you know, and it's like it can be very crazy making sometimes for folks. There is that like, I know I spent some time last year when you and I decided to begin this journey together with, and we were the BookToktors and going, we were seeing this happen with people and like seeing in groups of people were having burnout and just I at the same time kind of stepped back and started watching myself and my reaction with I was like, okay, I've been in social media on this other side of it for a while. Let me pay attention as the poster who's getting like, you know, I had one of the posts like on Instagram got up to like 80 or 90,000 views at one point and was doing really well. And that dopamine hit was interesting to watch for a couple of days, like where my own wanting to do this and to do that. And that's the time that I know if I didn't have the tools in my toolkit, I would have started doing my unfortunate posts.
Yes.
Trying to keep like, how do I go and do the scramble, make it happen again? But because it was happening, I was able to just kind of ride it. And I watched my reaction to the adrenaline, dopamine, whatever it was. And the kind of I think I even had shared with you at one point, was like, oh, this is kind of funny. Cause I can almost feel my like where I want to do things, but I did everything in my power to go, no, don't get back into your office. Right. Work on things you can control more.
Let it go.
Come back. Yeah. Let it go. And then come back and just what happened to work in that post? Can I recreate it? Can I tweak it and play with it and be more
and not in an obsessive way.
More like playful, like childlike almost. Like what can I go with here? Curiosity. That's it. Like a curious nature is how I want to approach it. Like, now what happened with that one that maybe that one is stinking as a post? How can I go back and tweak that and do this with it? Or why is that good?
Yes. And having our community and the fact that we're talking about it brings it to the front of mind too. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't feel like they can say, I had a video that didn't do well today and it affected my mental health negatively. Like that, you know, there's a lot of shame around that.
Yeah, there is shame.
And people feel like, well, I know logically it's silly to care if this video doesn't do well. So then they don't talk about it and they don't say anything. But when you say it out loud and you talk about it with your group of people and your trusted friends and start those conversations, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, you know, it is okay. And I do feel better. And I'm not going to let this kind of affect me, you know, because a lot of people turn it into, well, I'm not a good person then, or I'm not a good content creator, or I
can't do
all of these stories we tell ourselves, you know? So yeah, that's one of my big goals. And the other one is we've got some courses coming out this year.
Yes, we do.
Which we're so excited about. I'm so ready to get those courses happening and a bunch of other really exciting stuff that we can't.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say things yet.
We haven't gotten the green light to talk about yet, but
very
we're
soon.
very excited to share. Yes. So lots of exciting things coming for us in 2023. And I would love to know what our listeners have going on in 2023 and maybe some of their goals for social media. So yeah, leave a comment either on YouTube or on the podcast and let us know what you have going on too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a busy year. It's going to be a good, busy year of social media with ease.
Yeah. Fun, easy, sustainable.
Love that.
Yeah. Joyful. Yeah. Let's go. 2023.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. See you next time.
We'll see you guys next time.